Alrighty guys, it is Quaman here today, and I'm bringing you a brand new Dragon Ball Super series, but I am not alone as I am joined with the one and only one.
Beautiful friends, it is Black and now today I shall be your host. Oh wait, no. What is going on, my Super Sandwiches? Rhymestyle here, that one.
And we have a brand new series for you guys today. A lot of you guys were asking us, I saw in one of my more recent predictions videos that you guys actually wanted me to do like a whole video talking about Super in general, as I've done like a review and so is Rhymestyle. We wanted to kind of break it down and kind of give you a general feeling on what we think about Dragon Ball Super as a whole. We're going to do this every few episodes, so without wasting any more time, Rhymestyle, let's get straight into Dragon Ball Super as in general and your thoughts. So Rhymestyle, what are your thoughts on Super from the first 5 episodes?
You know, it's funny. The first few episodes I watched, I was super excited and I got really into it. But honestly, I gotta say, the last like 2 episodes slightly have been disappointing, only because they've been down to the T when it comes to how much similar they were to the Battle Gods movie. Like, I mean, I already knew that Battle Gods Saga was going to be a thing, Resurrection F is going to be a thing that's going to happen next, but I assume there's going to be a lot of differences that that's going to keep the series, you know, somewhat fresh to, you know, to the people who already seen Battle Gods. But I mean, episode 5 was pretty much exactly the same, literally the same, with the exception of Goku using all 3 forms to fight Beerus. And then the first few episodes really were they're just in the same, I guess, direction as the movie. Now, that's not a complete bad thing. Like, I'm still enjoying the show a lot. You know, I watch it every single Sunday when I wake up. But just the fact that I know what's going to happen, kind of like, you know, makes the show not as exciting as Dragon Ball Z was the first time I watched it. It's just, and I guess that's kind of a curse that we all have to those who watch Battle Gods. Obviously, if you're watching Super for the very first time and you've never watched Battle Gods, it's still super exciting for you. But that's probably a small crowd of people that's actually experiencing it for the first time. It's good, it just, I know what's going to happen, so I'm just kind of waiting for Champa to show up and kind of change stuff around before I get a lot more excited than I already am. I enjoy it still, I love it, it's great, I'm glad Dragon Ball Z is back, or I guess Dragon Ball Super in this case, but until something different happens, I'm going to be kind of like, oh, okay, I knew this was going to happen,
Well, that's really interesting, Dino, and as soon as you said that, it kind of brought me directly to a few weeks ago when me and you did that whole video on the pacing. And what's funny about the pacing of the series is we were saying that, you know, the pacing has been a little bit slow as of episode 3, and to be honest with you, it's kind of funny that we uploaded that video literally before we figured out like the titles for like the upcoming episodes, and it's actually looking slower. The fact that it's gonna take all the way till episode 9 for Goku to become a Super Saiyan God, and it's kind of like, so what the hell are they gonna do for like the next 4 episodes? It's like, doesn't it seem kind of like it's a waste of time, like complete wasted space?
From what I saw, what they're doing is they're splitting up all the major moments from Battle of Gods and giving it a separate episode. So the fight with Beerus and Goku was a full episode. The birthday party setting up is a full episode. The whole Pilaf thing was a full episode. And then now what we're going into the part where Beerus fights the Z Fighters. So it's going to be a full episode. After that, we see Vegeta freaking out against Beerus, which I'm really excited to see that. You know, I'm super hyped for that. No matter how similar that looks to the movie, I'm going to love that episode, just because that was probably my favorite part in Battle of Gods. And a lot of Vegeta fans especially loved seeing Vegeta really give it to Beerus. But it just, the idea of knowing what's going to happen is just kind of like what's kind of offsetting. I mean, like I said, it's not a bad thing completely, but then again, you know, watching Dragon Ball Z from the start, I remember how excited I was with every single thing that happened. And that's the only weakness with Dragon Ball Super so far. But then again, it's only 5 episodes deep, and we know Champa's going to show up eventually. And like I said, when he shows up and stuff starts happening differently, then it's going to be more like, oh my god, I can't wait till next Sunday.
Right, because I mean, we're finally going to be moving into territory that we don't know, and I think that's one of the lowlights. I'll be honest with you, Dino, to be completely honest, I think that Dragon Ball Super is a slight, you know, a little bit of a letdown, and the reason I'm saying this is because I feel like after episodes 1 and 2, it's been a drastic drop off. I felt that episode 1 was great. I felt episode 2 was greater. And, you know, I was talking with Duct Tape from Comic Corner. We felt that they could have done so much with the pacing. Now that we're gone through, I felt that you could have literally have put episode 1 and 2 together, where you put Vegeta in a trip for like half the episode, Goku getting a million Zenny that other half. You could skip all that crap with Goten and Trunks and the snake and all that, and you could have literally put episode 2 as nothing but just Beerus talking to Whis, and you see him blow up all those planets. It's literally a whole episode about just Beerus. And then episode 3, Goku fights Beerus on King Kai's planet, and that would have been like, you know, so much better. I feel like they're 2 episodes just wasted. Like episode 3, you know, when they're just talking the whole time, and then episode 4, you know, where we see like the Pilaf gang. And the thing that disappointed me is I felt like the Pilaf gang episode was the worst because I was expecting a lot more interaction. I mean, Dino, the Pilaf gang wasn't even really that much featured in that episode, even though the title was about them.
Yeah, I feel like it's also they stretched that content too, because I figured all of episode 4 was going to be them going through the whole scenario of getting the Dragon Balls, you know, the whole spiel they did in a movie where they tried to shoot Trunks. I thought that was going to happen, but they didn't even like attempt to get the Dragon Balls. All episode 4 was Pilaf and his gang getting on a ship. And the thing is I loved episode 1 and 2 because it was something new and refreshing, but then everything after that has been so similar to Battle of Gods. It's like, oh, even down to the dialogue. Even down to the dialogue and how everything reacts. Even like when Beerus showed up to King Kai's planet, they even did the whole thing where it's like they were trying to like make eye contact, but they were both like looking the opposite ways. Like there's so much that happens in Battle of Gods that's happening again to the dot in Super that kind of has to be like, okay, well this is cool, I guess. I wish there was more original stuff, but for now it's cool. And the thing that I kind of expected to happen was I assumed that they were going to tell more of the story, like really spend some time character development, maybe introduce Jocko early and stuff like that, but hasn't happened yet. Again, I mean, it could very well happen in the next couple episodes, who knows? But I want to see more, I guess, more stuff happen to what already happened in Battle of Gods. I mean, everything else, like I said, that happened, I know it's going to happen. Like, I can literally watch an unsubbed version of an episode and understand what they're saying.
Right. I mean, honestly, that's kind of like how it was. Like, I saw the episode 5 first, you know, when it just aired, and then like I watched it to see the subtitles, and I really felt like I really didn't need it. Like the general feeling, you know, Dino, even though, and that's how kids learn languages, and obviously me and you have talked about how it is to learn another language, and kids learn by kind of like just watching like guys on TV and seeing how they interact, and I got a general feeling of what they were talking about, even though I didn't understand what they were saying. And the thing that I feel that Super really needs to change is I feel like they need to change the mood. Because, Dino, I think that's the #1 problem, and obviously we're going to talk about the animation in a bit because that's what the fans really want us to talk about. I feel like for Super so far, I think it's been too lighthearted. I understand that it's fitting the mood, but episode 1's lighthearted, episode 2's lighthearted,
which is acceptable. The start acceptable, the lightheartedness in the start was acceptable, but now it's like we're 5 episodes deep and it's still too lighthearted.
Right, and episode 5 was not as lighthearted, and I loved it. But you see, the thing is the one episode that was not supposed to be lighthearted, they screwed up with the animation.
Oh my god!
And I'll be honest with you, Dino, a little mini rant here. I've been disappointed mainly because I felt that Toei's kind of like flipping us off by saying, we're gonna wait 5 refrigeratingly long episodes. You guys know what I want to say by refrigeratingly long episodes. We waited 5 refrigeratingly long episodes to get to episode 5, where we finally see Goku versus Beerus, and then they give us bad animation. So it's like, so what did we wait all of this for? Like that was a bit disappointing. But Dino, to be honest, I do think one highlight of Super so far has been that fight with the red alien. It's kind of sad that an unknown alien has been the highlight of the show. What do you say to that?
I mean, my favorite part about the show so far, and this is something I was looking forward to before the show even started, was the character development that we get with Beerus. Like, Beerus is my favorite character, and I just want to see so much of Beerus and Whis as well in the show. And that's why I've been so excited about the show so far. But now that we're in Battle of Gods, like balls deep in Battle of Gods territory, I'm just kind of like, okay, let me get something new now. You know?
Right.
I mean, we'll see what happens, I guess. We'll see what happens in the next 5 episodes. Again, we're still going to be pretty much, next time we do this review video, because we'll do this every 5 episodes, you know, nothing's going to really happen that hasn't already happened in Battle of Gods. Because, like, again, the next episode is the party. Beerus gets mad, fights the Z-Warriors. You know, Vegeta fights him. Goku shows up. He wishes to figure out how to become Super Saiyan God. And I bet you it's not going to happen until episode 10, where the actual fight happens, or I guess the fight starts between Beerus and Goku.
Right, which literally is telling me, Dino, that it's going to take 5 episodes just to do what Battle of Gods did in an hour and a half, and that's it's a little slow for, like, you know, obviously, but I understand why. But, you know, to kind of switch this topic over a little bit to the subject of the animation. Now, I want to start off with a question for you, Mr. Dino.
So,
we talked earlier today about you know, the animation and, you know, the differences by why it's as low standard. And I still think there's no excuse. I still think they had more than enough money to make it better than what it was. But Dino, compare episode 2's fight with Beerus versus that red alien versus Goku and Beerus. And the reason I say that's because that's the only other fight we saw. That whole fight with the snake lasted too short. So what would you say to that? I
mean, honestly, all I can say to that is you got to blame the team that did episode 5. So to those who don't know who, I kind of broke this down in a video the other day, but the way animation works for episodes is every episode is assigned to a team. So in this case, it was like 4 people that worked on episode 5, and they're probably not the best combination of people to work on it. Whether, I don't know if there was a time constraint, if they were just busy or just trying to get the episode out, I have no idea what happened, but the team who did episode 5 did not do a good job. The team that did the first couple episodes did a great job. Even episode 4 was better in terms of animation, even with the thicker lines that we saw around the characters. But episode 5 was just it was boo-boo. It was absolute boo-boo. But again, this is something that we have to deal with just because the way animation works is there's so much anime coming out in Japan, and there's not enough skilled artists that companies can hire, because animators are all freelance. Like the way it works is people like a company like Toei will get a budget. They have to split that budget amongst all the different episodes. So let's say there's 100 episodes in Dragon Ball Super. They have to split all the money that they have to basically pay for every single episode, and then they have to outsource who's going to work on it. So they need, like, hey, I need a person to draw. We need 2 people to basically do the animation for this episode, for that episode, for this episode, for that episode. And at the same time, you also have to compete with other animes that are going on. You got One Piece is happening. You got Naruto that's going into freaking filler again. There's a lot of anime coming out and not enough quality and even unskilled artists out there in Japan that can fill that position. So that's kind of probably have to deal with. And we're definitely going to see more episodes in the future that's going to have bad animation like episode 5 did. And it's funny because if you look back at the previous episode of Dragon Ball Z, a lot of people were tweeting me today saying, how come the animation in Dragon Ball Z was way better? Well, it was for the most part, but it's funny because there's a lot of bad moments in Dragon Ball Z where animation just completely fell off, but no one really noticed back then. And the only reason why people are really noticing right now is because it's a hot topic. I mean, we're still talking about this on YouTube. There's a lot of people who are making videos about it, and a lot of people are vocal about it on social media. That's why there's so many people discussing the whole Animation 5 bust. But in reality, it's been happening for 50 years. Toei was founded, what, like 1958 or something like that, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's a practice that's been happening ever since it came out. It's like there's not enough resource and time and even money to make quality episodes. Now, with movies, for example, there's a huge budget and you have a better built team that can basically focus on animation, so everything kind of looks consistent across the board. You'll still every now and then you'll get that episode or that drawing in a movie where it's like kind of under par, but for the most part, animation is A1 when it comes down to movies. But with episodes, you kind of have to rely on the team that you hire. And in this case, Toei screwed up. And, well, I wouldn't say they screwed up because the person that they basically hired for episode 5 has done stuff in the past that looked a lot better. Again, I kind of blame time on this. I feel like maybe they ran out of time or whatever happened. I have no clue. I mean, it's still unacceptable because the episode was just pretty bad. It's, again, the one episode we were all looking forward to, it was basically brushed aside because the animation was that bad. And again, I mean, I don't know what to say there, honestly.
I mean, the thing I'd just say to close this out is that I just feel like it's clearly a downgrade from the standard, Dino, and that's why I'm not panicking too much, because if, like I said, like that whole fight that Beerus had with that red alien, that looked incredible. So if that looked so good, there's no excuse for how it could consistently keep looking this bad. So that's why I'm not that worried. But to close this out, Dino.
The only consistency problem is just the fact that literally it's always a different team. So you never know what to get. I mean, when it comes down to artists, to the people who are watching this video, if you're an artist, you could probably draw Goku really, really well. Well, if you, let's say they outsource a group of people inside of the YouTube section. It's like there's some people that can draw really, really well, and some people that can't. So it's like if you hire those people to work this episode, it's not going to look as good as the episode that was done by someone who can actually draw. So it's kind of a gamble, honestly. But something I want to say is, one bad episode of animation, it did not ruin a series. I saw a lot of people kind of overreacting, saying, "Oh my God, Dragon Ball Super is ruined. It looks so bad." It's like, dude, it's one episode. Every episode looked great so far, and I'm sure the next couple episodes are going to be amazing. Every now and then you'll see that blurb. It's like, whoa, what happened there? But for the most part, it did not ruin the series. The only thing I'm looking forward to the most in the series right now is something new to happen. But up until that happens, I'm going to enjoy Dragon Ball Super as much as I can, because I'm still excited that Dragon Ball is back after 20 years or 18 years, and that's the most important part about, everything that I said.
Well, I'll just say this in a nutshell. The only thing I fear about Super is that I have a strong feeling that the reason why it's so popular is because Ball and Z, you know, popularized the show, and I just don't think that, you know, with the animation plus, you know, the slow pacing, it wouldn't be the most attractive show. Like look at it like this, Dino. If you were a kid and you were watching Dragon Ball Super and you never saw Ball, Z, GT, nothing, and you were just seeing Super for the first time, it wouldn't be that attractive to look at because nothing's really happening, and it's kind of like...
I disagree with that. I slightly disagree with that because the only reason why nothing's happening is because we've already seen everything.
Right.
Episode 1 and 2, they focus on Goku and Vegeta, and then everything else after that kind of focused on character development of what we saw in Battle of Gods. I remember the first time I watched Battle of Gods, how excited I was. And if this was my first time watching Dragon Ball Battle of Gods in the form of an anime, I would be just as excited as I was back then, even with the bad animation. It just, honestly, we're kind of spoiled right now because we watch Dragon Ball Z all our life, you know, Dragon Ball as well, and we're spoiled, honestly, when it comes down to seeing Dragon Ball Super, because like, we're expecting so much, and we're not getting everything that fill our plate. So that's kind of like the other issue here.
Right. I mean, to be honest with you, I just feel like it might not be as attractive for like newer people as it would be for us. Like Ball, even though Dragon Ball started off lighthearted, at least Goku and Bulma were doing something, and with Z, Raditz came by this, you know, was basically around from the first, you know, first 2 episodes of the series. So I think that when you look at it from that perspective, I think that Super definitely needs to improve. And to close this out, my final thoughts,
Actually, before you give a final thought, I want to hear from everybody who watches the video. So if you made it this far, what are your overall thoughts? What are you feeling? Like, what's going on through your mind as you watch these episodes? Are you just as excited? Are you less excited? Are you watching it for the first time? Like, let us know everything in the comment section below, because I think this would be a good one for the whole community to kind of like basically give their overall thoughts on it. And I'm really excited to know what everybody thinks overall. But go ahead.
And if you guys have made it this far into the video, put hashtag Dragon Ball Super Hope to see if anybody's actually seeing this. But, you know, to close this out, I'd just like to say that I always use a 5-star scale. I don't like using 10-point scales. As a 5-star scale, how would you rank Dragon Ball Super, Dino?
Ooh, as a 5-star...
no halves. No halves.
So, okay. Ah, snap. Honestly, I would say 3 out of 5. But 4 out of 5 if I was watching it for the first time. But 3 out of 5 just because, again, everything that we saw in the last 3 episodes happened pretty much to the dot of how it happened in the movie with the small changes. First 2 episodes were great. First 2 episodes are definitely 5 out of 5s. But everything else was kind of like 3 and 4. I'd say 3 out of 5.
To tell you the truth, Dino, if episode 5 had better animation, I would give it a 4 as a whole. But because of how because of that kindergarten level of animation, I'm gonna have to give it a 3 too. But you know, that's basically been it for this video.
Wait, that's also a question I want to ask everybody else. What do you rate it? So along with your opinion of what you thought about the show so far, excuse me, put a number out of 5 in the comment section below as well.
So guys, that's basically been it. You know, this video's a little bit longer, but every single podcast type video we have for Dragon Ball Super, we're gonna go a lot more in depth about these things. And you know, I'd really like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, how do you feel about Super so far? We're gonna have a completely different opinion 5 episodes from now, and you know, I'm gonna post, you know, a link to check out Dino in the description. I'm sure if you're watching this on this channel, you'll do the same thing, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So Dino,
yes.
Most importantly,
over
everything else.
Over everything, even Chipotle.
What must they remember, Dino? What must they remember?
To like, to rate, comment, and subscribe.
And remember, as I always say, to what, Dino?
To have a, what's that word? To have a bad day.
Have a great day, guys.
That one.